All right, guys, welcome back. This is spring of 1920 for the Soviets. We have $22 to spend. We're going to spend $8 on a Cossack and a cavalry, $5 on a 1918 fighter, and then we're going to spend $9 on 2 trench fighters, a militia, and an infantry. And that will make 22. So let's roll diplomacy. For stage 4, that's a 4, which is a miss. Okay, we're starting to dwindle our opportunities here. So, combat moves. We're going to attack the tank in Petrograd. Surprise, surprise. The cavalry from Oral Kursk will go 1, 2. The fighter from Lithuania will fly. How do I want to do this? I think I can go, I think it's just 3. So I guess if I don't take this, he dies. Okay, so for Petrograd, so there's that. And then, because the tank, or not tank, the armored train can't get there because the rail comes into here, but then it has to go back this way and then come up around. So he can't make it. Oh well. So we're going to do that. And then, what else do we have? We have a combat move. Down here, the cavalry in Grando province is going to go 1, 2 to attack into Kiev, along with the 2 regular infantry and the 2 trench fighters. So that's an attack. And then the force down here, which is going to consist of 2 militia, 2 infantry, an artillery with a balloon, and then the 3 Cossacks are going to attack into Transcaucasia and try to kill some stuff in there. So we'll do that, and then we'll also do a walk-on with the Turkmenistan into North Persia. So that is now ours. We'll get that out of the way. And then we will attempt to bomb the rail in southern Ukraine with the airship. So he'll go 1, 2, 3, and then he'll have enough movement to land. So we'll do that. So I guess I'll put him in there now for now, so you can see. Then coming over here, the militia, the 3 infantry, and the 3 Cossacks, along with the 4 Cossacks, 3 infantry, and a militia are going to attack into Amur. The commander is going to stay put. So we'll do that. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take these 2 militia and attack. Do we want to attack Cheetah 2-on-1? Better not do that. We'll take 1 Cossack in there. So a Cossack, along with these 2 militia, will attack into Cheetah against the defending militia. So we'll do that. Okay. So there's those battles. And I believe that does it. I don't think I have any others. If it makes sense, because everything's got to move. Yeah. Okay. So let's go roll those out then, shall we? So we will start with the city of Petrograd. There's a tank defending, which will be at a 2. And then we will have a fighter at a 5 and a cavalry at 3. So here we go. The tank does not get boosted because it's not an infantry class unit. So here's our cavalry. And then need to get an orange dice for the fighter. And then we'll go ahead and roll the tank 2 at the same time because no one has first strike. So tank's at 2. Right. Here we go. Okay. So we got a hit. He got a hit, of course, and then the fighter missed. Now, off the top of my head, I don't know if fighters can actually take a land zone. I'm going to assume that they can't. And with that being the case, then we will take the fighter as the casualty. So the cavalry will go into Petrograd and take it back. So that's an easy fix or change. Fighter died and the tank died. So that battle's out of the way. The next battle will be for Kiev.
Oh, but maybe you died.
No, just recording a turn. Then the armored train that's defending in Kiev will be at a 4. And then I have 2 trench fighters attacking at 2s, 2 infantry at 3, and a cavalry at 3. So this could be nasty for us actually, but we'll see how this goes. So, there are no first strikes. Everything's at 2s and 3s. We don't have a terrain penalty because everything attacked either through Western Ukraine or from Western Ukraine. So there's the dice setup. So I'll have 3 at 3, 2 at 2, and then the armored train's a first strike for the opponent. So here we go. The first strike at a 4 for the artillery. So the artillery missed, which is good for us. The tank, I should say. And then now the defending shots, or attack shots, sorry. So the 2 trench fighters at 2s, and then the infantry are all at 3. That's 2 at 3, and the cavalry at a 3. So 3 at 3s. And we got 2 hits. We're having much better dice rolls compared to earlier game. Okay, it must be my handy dandy cup here that I made. It must be much more effective than my normal rolling technique. Okay, so we will take Kiev on the first round with everything. We didn't take any casualties. He'll lose his armored train. So that's pretty straightforward. Okay. So Kiev does have a damaged rail, so you just note that. Okay. So that'll give us another $1. So you can see that there. So there's the 2 trench fighters, the 2 infantry, and the cavalry in Kiev. And then now let's pull everything off for, actually we'll go ahead and roll the bombing run for southern Ukraine. So let's roll that for the rail. Hopefully we damage it. And we did. Huzzah. So we'll get another $1 for propaganda. And the railroad in there is now damaged. So I'll put a token in there. Okay. Then from here, what are we going to do? Yeah, let's do the battle for Transcaucasia. So we'll have 3 Cossacks, 2 infantry, 2 militia, along with the artillery and the balloon. Okay. So the artillery with the balloon will be at a 5. The Cossacks would normally attack at 4s, but it is mountain, so they go down to 3s. Okay, the infantry are normally at 3s because of the Commissar card, so they'll be at 2s. And the militia will just stay at 1s. We're going to boost one of the infantry up to a 3 as well, so we'll have 4 at 3. Okay, and then the defender, he's got 4 infantry in here, 1 trench fighter, and 1 militia. Okay. This one could be a little more ugly for us, but if so, oh well. Okay. we go. So there's everything all set up over there. There's no commanders. Don't have to worry about that. Okay. So we have one first strike, and it will be at a 5. So let's roll for that. He missed. Okay, off to a bad start. Then we have 2 1s. And then we have 1 at 2, and then we'll have 4 at 3. So there's 3, let me get one more. And 4. Okay, here we go. Oh, we had one bounce out. So there's 1 hit there. I got to re-roll a red that bounced out. So we have 1 hit. Everything else missed. Let's roll for that guy. And he gets a hit. Okay, so we got 2 hits. So I would assume the trench fighter and militia. Now let's roll for him. So he will have 2 at 2s, and then he'll have 4 at 4s. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And he got 1 hit. So we'll lose a militia. Okay. Okay, same thing as before for us. So we're gonna have 1 at 5, only 1 at 1 this time, and then 4 at 3, and then the 1 at 2. This is round 2. Okay, so there's 2 hits there. We'll just call that a 12, even though it's call it a 1 or call it a 12. It's 2 hits for us. Okay. So 2 more hits. So he'll lose 2 infantry. And then for him, he has his 4 infantry at 4s. And he gets 1 hit. Okay, so we'll lose the last militia. Okay, so he'll be down to 2 infantry left. Okay. So again, 4 at 3, 1 at 2 for the infantry, and 1 at 5 for the artillery. And just 1 hit right there. So he's going to survive with 1 infantry in the territory. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. Okay, so his 2 rebuttals, and they both missed. Okay. So we will not take Transcaucasia. He'll have 1 infantry left. All right, we did way better than I thought we would. So now we will retreat back with 3 Cossacks, 2 infantry, an artillery, and a balloon. Okay. Oh, he's there, not north. So there's that. And then the artillery and the 2 infantry. Okay. Well, that went pretty well for us for the most part, though. So, okay. So that's out of the way. And then finally, we'll have the 2 battles over there in Amur and Chita. So the battle for Chita, there's the militia defending, 2 attacking militia, and a Cossack. So let's go roll for that. So he'll have 1 at 2. And then I'm going to have 2 at 1. And the Cossack's normally at a 4. He'll be at a 3. So we can roll everything together. So he's going to be the red dice. And then I have the 2 white dice and the yellow dice. 3 rounds. Okay. Hit with the cavalry. And a miss with his unit. And the other 2 militia missed. So we took it on the first round. So we'll take Amur, which is great. One less thing in the way. And now, or not Amur, that was Variadia. No, Chita. That was Chita. Now we'll do Amur, which is his militia at a 2. which we're going to roll everything separate because I've got some 2s. So, for me, there's no first strikes. He has no first strikes. My infantry are +1, so they're going to roll on 2s instead of 3s because of the mountain. Cossacks are 4s, reduced to 3s, and there's 3 of them. So there's the Cossacks, and then we have 1 militia who will be at a 1. Okay. And there's 1 hit there, which is what we needed. Okay, so let's roll his rebuttal. Okay. And he missed on 4. Okay. Let me take you over here. So we will take a Mur with no casualties. So, pretty successful. And now let's get into non-combat. So the commander that's here in Irkutsk is going to go 1, 2 to Buryatia. Okay. And then we're going to rail this infantry that's here in Novosibirsk to Western Kazakhstan, or not Western Kazakhstan, Kazakh-Turkestan. Kazakh-Turkestan. He's going to go there. Okay. Then our last rail that we have is going to be over here in Warsaw. The fighter in Warsaw is going to be railed all the way from Warsaw via rail all the way through to Buryatia. So he'll be in there. Okay. And then what else? Other non-combats that we have. The Cossacks that are all in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 Cossacks that are here in Lithuania, they're going to go 1, 2 to Western Ukraine. The cavalry in Warsaw is going to go 1, 2 to Western Ukraine. The infantry will go into Western Ukraine. The trench fighter that's here will go to where do I want him to go? He'll do that. He'll go to Western Ukraine, and then the 2 trucks with artillery are going to move to Western Ukraine as well. We'll bring that in there. And then the trench fighter that's in Lithuania, he's going to go to, I don't even think it matters at this point where he goes, but he's going to walk around to southern Belarusia, just positioned a little better. The commander is going to go to Western Ukraine, and he has supply. He's effective. The armored train that's in Lithuania is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, do we want to go there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll put him in Kursk. Yeah, he'll go to Kursk. Okay, so there's that. I don't think that there's any other non-combat to do. Just looking things over. Okay, let's get into placement of units then. So the Cossack we've got is going to go over here in Yakutsk. So there's that. And then over here, the fighter that we have is going to be built into, oh, you know what, actually, now that I think about this, I think the way that card reads for place units, Soviet factors produce no units this turn unless the territory is occupied at the start of the place units phase. Okay. Well, that changes things a bit then, so I wouldn't be able to place this artillery. So, what we will do, because I literally only have one to build, the infantry that we railed down here to Kazakh Turkestan, he's going to stay back in Novosibirsk so that we can place. So he's back there. The rail movement instead will be the trench fighter here in southern Belarusia. He'll go to western Kazakh Turkestan. So that's the rail. We'll do that as the rail movement. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so then placement of units again. So we already placed the Cossack. The fighter will go into Novosibirsk, so it's legal because of the striking workers. And then over here, we still have 2 trench fighters, a militia, a cavalry, and an infantry to place. So we will do this. The cavalry will be placed in Donetsk Cuban, or no, they'll be placed in Don Mansion. The infantry will be placed into Western Ukraine. We're going to place a trench fighter into Donetsk Cuban. We're going to place a militia into Eastern Ukraine. And then we're going to place our final trench fighter that we have here. Where do I want to put him? Decisions. We'll just put him back over here in Estonia. Okay. So that's that. We're starting to run out of time here. I think we still have enough just barely to get. But... Okay, so that's that. Let's go roll for everything over here. So we need to do wartime economy. That's a 2. So not as good as last time, but we'll still take it. So for us, we go up $1 because we took Kiev. So that takes us to 14. So we will collect $14 of income. There's the 14. Then we're going to get $1 for propaganda. We're going to get $2 for wartime. And then we're going to get another $2 for our bonus for the foreign contribution. So 2, 4, oops, and 5 plus the 14. So we only get 19 that turn. So that's not bad, but probably one of our lower actual incomes that we've had for a little bit. So $19 to spend next turn for the Soviets. That's that. Let's go do a disposition of forces then. So in Petrograd, I have a cavalry. In Estonia, I have a trench fighter. In Orelkursk, I have a armored train. In Eastern Ukraine, I have a militia. In Don Mansion, I have a cavalry. In Kiev, I have 2 trench fighters, 2 infantry, and a cavalry. In Western Ukraine, I have 1 trench fighter, 2 artillery, 2 trucks. I don't know if I said it already. I have a trench fighter, 2 artillery, 2 trucks, a cavalry, 2 infantry, and 7 Cossacks, along with an effective commander. And then in Donetsk Cuban, I have a trench fighter. In North Caucasia, I have 2 infantry, 3 Cossacks, and an artillery with a balloon. In northern Persia, I have a trench fighter. In Kazakh Turkestan, I have an infantry and a trench fighter. In Novosibirsk, I have an infantry and I have a fighter. Then over here, I have, actually, I'll just go move closer. I have a fighter and an effective commander in Buryatia. And then in Chita, I have a Cossack and 2 militia, a Cossack in Yakutsk, and then I have a militia, 3 infantry, and 3 Cossacks in Amur. So that is what we have, guys. I believe that does it. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. Thanks.